Anywhere in the Tennessee Valley viewing area, you are less than one tank of gas away from one of the most scenic locations you've ever seen, and I know many of you have been there. It is the Jack Daniel Distillery located in Moore County, Lynchburg, Tennessee, and here's the guy. He is the master distiller, Jeff Arnett. Jeff, welcome to town.
Chip, thank you for having me.
As long as I've been doing the barbecue thing with you guys, you've never been on the show, and finally we get you.
It's good to be here. We've talked about this for years now. It's good to finally make it happen.
We're going to keep you here for a while.
Okay.
I've heard you say before that you consider yourself one of the luckiest men alive.
I would say so.
Tell me why.
You know, I think I have a very enviable position, and especially when you look at the history of Jack Daniels. We celebrated 3 years ago, we celebrated our 150th anniversary.
Wow.
And so being a milestone year, I was just looking around. The fact that only 5 people separate me from Jack Daniel in the history of our company. That, you know, I walk into the old office and I see the faces of master distillers who served before me. Over that same period of time, there have been 28 presidents, there have been 12 popes.
Wow.
So I always tell people, it's like, do I feel lucky? It's like, well, my job is 4 times better than being the president and about twice as good as being the pope. And that was just doing the math. So
I'm telling you what,
fortunate.
7th master distiller for old number 7. And you've got some new products that are coming out. And a lot of people think that the conventional Jack Black is about it, aside from a few other ancillary whiskeys. Not the case.
You know, if you think about, most people when they think of Jack Daniels will think about our black label. That's our #1 seller. You'll find it in 170 countries, even though every drop's made there in Lynchburg. But we had over the years begun to introduce new whiskeys. So we came out with Gentleman Jack in 1988. We came out with Single Barrel in 1997. And then we didn't really do a lot. For the next 14 years, we didn't add any permanent new whiskeys into our portfolio. But then we came out with Honey, and that has been just a crazy success for us.
And this is so good to cook with.
It is. You know, we definitely see that with the barbecue teams.
Right.
You know, put a bottle of that into their Iron Chef box and see how creative they'll get with it. But, you know, for us, you know, Jack Daniels, to continue to grow, we need to find, you know, new fans. We also need to find new occasions where we have products that are relevant. Jack Daniels wasn't necessarily something that people would order as a shot. It wasn't something that they would serve after dinner. To me, Honey kind of checked off both boxes. Sure. Then, of course, we follow that up with our first new grain bill since Prohibition when we came out with rye. A few years ago.
This has been fairly recent. The rye, I say fairly recent.
Yes.
How long has it been?
We started distilling it back in 2010. We let off, sort of did what I would call a soft launch with the single barrel rye.
Right.
And then the core has only been out less than 2 years, so maybe about 18 months. But that's the fastest growing form of American whiskey. It's sort of the cocktail darling right now. The Sazerac, the rye Manhattans and rye Manhattans and old fashions and things are very popular.
How has this been received by the public overall? You guys happy with the performance?
You know, right now rye is a very confusing category for a lot of people because there's 150 labels of it out there, but there's only about 5 or 6 unique liquids. And Jack Daniels is one of the more unique liquids because most of them are either 51% rye or 95. We chose 70. To me, that's sort of striking the balance between being big and peppery and spicy, but also being, I think, polished and settled enough to just be drunk neat. So that's what you're trying to balance there. And I think ours is really a nice offering, but very new in the market.
One of the things that you came out with a couple of years ago, and I'm going to pull this over here.
Your favorite.
This is the Jack Daniel's Sinatra Select, and fans of Frank Sinatra know he rarely took a trip to the stage without having a little bit of Jack in a glass. And
I think for the people in the state of Tennessee, they probably would have heard of Jack Daniels without Frank Sinatra's help. But I think for the rest of the world, we probably owe Frank a huge debt. In 1955, he holds up Jack Daniels on stage. He calls it the nectar of the gods. Our sales double in the next year. We were on allocation for the next 25 years, and that's when you begin to see Jack Daniels showing up on music stages and in movies, and almost became a pop culture icon. But, you know, Frank, lifelong Jack Daniels drinker, even buried with a bottle of it.
Yes, he
when
was.
passed.
And tell me what makes this bottle different from one of the other ones as far as it compares to the barrel itself.
You know, Jack Daniels is not just a whiskey maker, but we're a barrel maker also. So that makes us very unique, and it gives us the ability to innovate. So we have a proprietary toasting process, but we make barrels for ourselves. In the case of the Sinatra barrel, we toasted the barrel, we charred the barrel. Those are things that are common to most Jack Daniels barrels, but we also went and grooved them, which when you do that, you double the inside surface area. Everything that's removed from the barrel stays in the barrel, so it's like almost like adding wood chips in a way. So you get this maximum, what I call oak expression. So if I think about the whiskeys of the 50s, higher proofs, oaky or darker, would probably have prevailed the market back then. This is sort of a throwback to the whiskeys of the 50s, and hopefully if people try it, they would recognize that.
Do you think Frank Sinatra himself would have been proud of this?
I certainly hope so. I know his children are. So those are the ones that I dealt with. Nancy, Tina, Frank Jr. up until he passed away. They were all kind of helping us settle this product. But we're very proud of how it turned out.
Certainly, definitely an incredible, incredible product. Coming up here in just a minute, we're going to be talking about some of the other bottles here on this side of the table. Some of these are only available here in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, all of these are going to be Tennessee exclusive. You'll find them at the Visitor Center, but all throughout the state of Tennessee. And we're glad to do this because when people come to the state of Tennessee, a lot of them, Jack Daniel's is something that, that, you know, I always say when you travel outside the state of Tennessee, you tell someone you're from Tennessee, it's music and whiskey.
Right.
Are the things that are sort of general themes that people understand about the state. And this is an opportunity for people who visit the state to leave with something that's sort of very exclusive and unique.
And barbecue as well. There's some really cool things associated with these three bottles, and as Jeff said, only available here in the state of Tennessee. We're going to take a quick break. We're back with more of Let's Chat coming up right after this.